Do you struggle or do you hold back sometimes with letting the people that you love and care about in your life know exactly how you feel about them? Or have you maybe just been at a point that you've just been distracted and overwhelmed with life? Well, today we're going to be looking at how critical, how crucial it is for us to be in a place that we become comfortable at letting the people we know, that we love, that we care about, how we feel about them, and how it plays a really, really rich part in enhancing our life. So today, as we jump in, one of the biggest things that I've seen over the years that can kind of hold people back is the aspect of what I'm going to call the pitfall of tomorrow. That I'm going to get there. I have time. I'm going to let that person know how I feel. Where we can really almost subconsciously not even realize that we get distracted by life. We can kind of think we have more time than we do. Where we're like, I've got practice with the kids, have this after school today, or I've got this project that's due with work. I've got, and I am not minimizing the I've got at all, because life is crazy. We have responsibilities, we have obligations, but sometimes we can hit points in life where we kind of get in this circular motion that we're just kind of running in circles. We're going, and at the same time that we're living life, we're not actually living life. Life is being lived outside of the context of how it was intended, where we're just going through the motions. There's times in life we need a little bit of spring cleaning. We need of taking a step back and saying, okay, where am I in terms of my actual substance of life in this pitfall of tomorrow? Am I spinning my wheels? Have I let my kids know how I really feel about them? Have I told my spouse, my best friend, my parents, my siblings? Fill in the blank. When was the last time that you let that person, those people, know how you really feel about them? We don't like to think about our mortality. And that in itself is a pitfall where we can hold ourselves back from letting people know how we really feel about them, because we kind of think we are here and we're here. And the truth is, every single stinking day is a gift. Every breath that we have been given, we inhale, we exhale, that's a gift. That is not a given. And the truth is that when we take that reality check, that every single human, us, and every single person that we care about, at some point is going to take their last breath, it can kind of put things in perspective. Only God knows when our first breath is taken and when will be our last. Other than that, we don't know. It's very easy to make the assumption that we have longer than we have. And this is not about being morbid, but realistic. We can be weirdos when it comes to our own mortality in terms of how we deal with the people in our life. Okay, if you were to die today, what would you say to the people around you? That's my question for you. Because a lot of times that could change how we look at life. Here's something that has always stuck with me. For a number of years, I was a high school SAC counselor, as a crisis counselor, and one of my favorite things that we were participated on a monthly basis, where I would take students out to a program over in Camden, New Jersey. Trauma Bob was who ran it, Bob Kona, who was super awesome. He would go through the motions of when you're flown in. Okay, this is an ICU. This is right here, right now. This is life or death stuff. And he would go and talk through what would happen when you are helicoptered in. You're here on the pad, you're coming in. And then he would say, I want you to picture this as your mom or your dad. And the room would go silent. And then he would say, I have to give you the news that your mom or dad aren't here anymore. And every single time when he would say, well, what would you say? Every single time it was, I love you. And he would say, well, when is the last time you actually said that to your mom or your dad? And a number of kids would say, I said it today. And then there would be some that you could feel this overwhelming sense of reality of, oh my gosh, it's been a really long time. We can take the people around us for mad granted. We just can without even realizing it. Well, we just expect them to be here. And the truth is, when we get into this pitfall of tomorrow, when tomorrow comes and it's the last tomorrow, with that somebody, the very last thing, 99.8% of the time, is I love you. I wish I said I loved you more. Man, I'm going to tell you with all my heart, do not allow that to become something that is a part of your reality, because it's a regret. Let's get out of the pitfall of tomorrow and allowing the people we know that we tell them how we feel. And it doesn't have to be a super long novel. Nope, doesn't. It could just be saying, I love you. I appreciate you. And this gets us to our second part that becomes kind of a hang up with people is, well, they know how I feel. And this is where, my friends, I call bull crap, where it is a very easy kind of backdoor, not dealing with telling people and expressing how we feel. And I've heard it many times where it's, well, they know how I feel. And I'll say, awesome sauce, but maybe they don't. And maybe you have this ability that I feel like in this time, more than ever in history, we have so many people who feel underappreciated, undervalued, don't know how someone really feels about them. Tell them, let them know how you feel before they're not here. Stop, drop, and tell. Let them know how you feel. I'd like you to think about, take a minute, maybe those top 2 or 3 people in your life right now. If they were to take their last breath, would you have any regrets? Would you have done anything differently? And I will tell you, I look back and I have learned so many lessons by people no longer being here. And I've become stronger, more gratitude filled, more intentional than I've ever been in my life, because my friend's life is short, life is precious. It is like grains of sand that go through our hands, and we are not here forever. Less than 2 months ago, right? My father, I'm gonna try to get through this here, was told a little over a year ago that he had gastric cancer. And he fought it, I'm gonna say probably 2 or 3 weeks before he passed away. He knew. And my dad was the essence of what we talk to our kids, our little girls, our little boys, and of what a father should be, man. He was the definition of selflessness, loyalty, and he lived his love out loud. And I'm going to explain that. Because my dad, it was every single conversation since I was a little kid. Aaron, did I tell you that I love you today? My Aaron D, did I tell you that I love you? And then when we were in places that it wasn't saying it out loud, we had a thing, probably since middle school, if not before that, when I was a kid, my 2 sisters and I and my parents, that we would do 3 squeezes on the shoulder or 3 squeezes on our hands. And it's something now that I've passed on to my son. And I'm so grateful for that. And it was, I love you. I will never allow a day to go by without you knowing that I love you. My dad lost his dad when he was 15 years old. He lost his mom, I'm going to say in his early 30s. And he and my mom had a whole lot of loss in their life. I want to be the best dad and husband I can be. I will love fervently, and I will love with all my heart. And some I know over the course of his lifetime were like, man, you know, Paulie, big teddy bear. Don't cross him, but a big teddy bear when it came to his family. But why is that weird? And I remember sitting with my dad, and my dad and I never like super held hands a lot. He would try, you know, hold hands when I was a little kid, and as I grow older, I think, man, all those holding hands moments that kind of went by the wayside. But at 45 years old, I sat next to him in bed and I held his hand. And I didn't know it, but it was the day before he passed away. And I gave him 3 squeezes and he gave me 3 squeezes back. And later that night, my husband, you know, I called and I said, I think Dad's going to heaven pretty soon. And he said, Aaron, just say any last words you need to say to him. And as I hung up the phone, I smiled. And I thought, I am so grateful. There's nothing else I need to say. Because we lived our love out loud. Was our relationship, my mom and dad's relationship, with perfect over the years. No, we had some disagreements, we had some ups and downs, but we had the reality that at times, even though we might not like each other, and that was very rare, but we might disagree with things, we loved each other, dude. And we told each other how we felt. I'm going to tell you, when you get in that zone, and it can be uncomfortable at first, I am like a fish out of water. I don't know how to tell people how I feel. When you begin that pursuit, I'm going to tell you, it's going to change your relationships. It's going to change how you look at life, because this is where it becomes a two-way street. It's not just somebody on the other side. I feel loved. Like I'm hearing this from this person. It feels awesome. But on the other side, when we say it, it's this realization, I'm going to say subconsciously, of the things and the people in our life that we're grateful for, that we have. And that is an awesome, awesome thing, my friends, because sometimes we can get so distracted in life and so caught up in things that we can lose sight of what's really important. We can lose sight. And the truth of the matter is, what if today was your last day? What if today was your last day? How would you do it differently? Don't wait for it to be your last day. This life that we have is short. I know when I take my last breath, I'm going to see my dad again. I have no fear of what's next in life, of death, because guess what? At some point, I'm out of here. It might be tomorrow. It might be in 50 years. My son has told me I'm going to live till I'm 112. I really hope it's not that long. But whatever it is, I am not fearful. My dad, one of the last words he said, his hands in the air, I want to go home. He was ready to go be with God. He was ready. There was no fear. I'm gonna see Shayna, my sister. And I could picture them dancing in heaven. And I will tell you, wherever the heck you are, when I tell you the peace that surpasses any crazy crap in life, the hurt, the loss, the whatever, having the reality of when I close my eyes and I take that breath for the last time, that I know where I'm going is a beautiful, wonderful, amazing thing. And the truth is, when I made a decision years ago to invest my heart and my life in a relationship with Jesus Christ, it changed my life, man. I was in different places throughout my life where I thought I kind of had all the answers, or I just was doing life. Man, I was missing out. And I know without question that I am going to see my dad one day. He is at peace. He is in no more pain. And he's with my sister. And I will tell you that my dad and I didn't have a perfect relationship. There were times we had disagreements. There were times I probably should have done things differently. But I put a stop to that because I can't change it. What we did have and will always have, I will always be his daughter. And he will always be my dad. And with that, the reality that he knew without a shadow of a doubt that he was loved. I know without a shadow of a doubt that my dad loved me fiercely. And being able to be in a place when we take our last breath, the people around us, and again, relationships are not perfect. Sometimes they're messy. Sometimes they can have times, seasons of just crappiness. But I will say, taking a step back and kind of reevaluating, where am I? How do I convey how I feel? And when we kind of allow ourselves the freedom of those 3 squeezes, of actually saying I love you, of sending somebody a text and expressing how we feel, I really appreciate you, I just wanted to let you know. Or we take time to give someone a super duper hug, or I'm not a huggy person. Well, what is it, you fill in the blank, where it's you expressing how you feel in a way that you're comfortable, where that person is kind of being handed that baton. And from that point knowing, man, I'm appreciated, man, I'm loved, and holy moly guacamole, is that an amazing, beautiful thing. So today, fiercely, truthfully, intentionally, let the people you love know that you love them. And as we go forward today, I'm wishing you a tremendous amount of peace, love, and goodness, my friends.